this is Sean, and in this lesson we're going to look at moving chords on -7 flat 5s, Barry Harris style, the kind of things we used to do in class. And if this is your first time here, then please do like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It really helps the channel grow and means I can create more content for you like this. So let's get straight into it. We will look at how this concept works, how to make a connection that we need to so we know what to play, how to practice that, and examples on 3 tunes as well. So let's go. Well, the basic principle is, if I'm playing an A-7 flat 5, that it comes from the C-6 movements, because if we take A-7 flat 5 and invert it up, we're going to get C-6 anyway. So in Barry's method, we use what we call the C-6 diminished scale. Now, I've taught this in more depth on another video, which I shall link below. But for now, let's just make it quick and say what we do is we have a C-6 and a D diminished. And then we alternate inversions of that. The next C-6 in an inversion, the next diminished in an inversion, the same diminished, by the way, D diminished inverted, C-6 inverted, D diminished inverted, C-6 inverted, D diminished inverted, and then we're back, okay? Now if we put those two things together, a C-6, and let's just over the top of it put the D diminished, we end up with this scale. Okay, again, I have much more on that in other videos, so I'll link that below. So that's the basic principle. Now, tips on making that connection between those two bits of information are, if you're on C-6 and you want to know which -7 flat 5 corresponds, just invert down and you'll get A-7 flat 5. Okay, simple as that. And if you're going the other way and you're already on A-7 flat 5 and you want to know which -6 it comes from, just invert up and you'll get C-6, and then you know you got to learn C-6 with a D diminished. For me, the best way to do that is to take a C-6, invert it up and down, and then do the same thing with a D diminished. Do it slowly enough that you can process it depending on what your level is with that. Don't rush it and just trip over, and then take one of the C-6s, the next, the first diminished, the next C-6, the next diminished, etc. And you'll end up with a scale of chords. So let's take a look at some exercises that we can try to get good at moving within these scales. Well, once you've got good at taking the chords through the scale the way we were already looking at, then for me the next thing is trying some contrary motions. So these are the minor notes, -6, C-6, and these are the diminished notes from D diminished. So if I'm on C-6, then the nearest available minor note to the left is not B, because that's from the diminished. It is A, because that's from the C-6. So I'm going to take contrary motion when the right hand goes up the scale in chords, but the left hand goes down the scale in single notes. Remember, this is where people will screw up. Don't miss the A flat on the way down, right? Because it's a note from D diminished. This is how it will look. C-6, D diminished, C-6, D diminished, C-6, D diminished, and C-6, and then back again. Of course, do that at your own pace, get good at it, don't rush it, but that's how you take simple contrary motion. Another thing you could do is moving just 2 notes. So if I'm on this C-6, I have a whole video on moving just the top 2 notes on the major 6. Very similar concept on minor 6. If I move just the top 2 notes up to diminished notes, these are the C-6 notes, these are the D diminished notes, so the top 2 notes, G and A, would come up to here if they were to be diminished notes. So you could begin on that mix of notes and give them back. Don't worry if it sounds very, very unsettled and weird to you at the moment. We'll be looking at application with these and we'll be able to do something in a minute. Here's the next C-6, top 2 notes going up to D diminished notes. So we could begin like that. And on the next one would be like this. These are the 2 D diminished notes. And on the last one, these will sound pretty much like they got lemon juice on. But that's okay. You can still get pretty moves doing stuff like that. All kinds of things can happen. Okay, so those are a couple of ways to make some movements. Next up, what to look for. Well, when you're looking for application on -7 flat 5 chords, because don't forget all this C-6 stuff was A-7 flat 5 as well. So if I'm playing, say, A-7 flat 5 to D7, then this C minus 6, these sorts of moves can apply until I get to some sort of D7 in either G major or G minor. Well, the thing to look for to get started is either space. So you've got in a measure or in a bar, you've got nothing going on, and that means there's no melody in your way. Or the other thing is single steps in the melody. Single steps meaning any single notes. Sorry about the stuck B flat, we'll just fix that. Any single notes of any amount. It could be 3 notes, 4 notes, could be 3 notes in any direction, could be an up and down, anything like that, as long as they are single steps. Okay, well, on to some tune examples. The first one we'll look at will be All the Things You Are. So looking at the A minus 7 flat 5 to D7. Now some people play just D7. I've written in A minus 7 flat 5 to D7 because that gets played a lot too. I'll just play from a little bit before, from the C minor 7. A flat major. Now A minus 7 flat 5 does have single steps. Sorry about the sticking G, I'm having some sticking notes today. So that could be contrary motion. Same way we did earlier, the right hand can go up while the left hand comes down. Down the scale, up the scale. Same stuff we did. C minus 6, diminished, C minus 6, and then on to the D7. So that's an example of single scale steps. One more on Fly Me to the Moon. Let's see. We have a minus 7 flat 5 on B minus 7 flat 5 there. So I've got a lesson on this, which I'll link below. Now B minus 7 flat 5 is, now we've got to figure out which minus 6 this is, because on the previous tune it was the one we'd already looked at. Now remember, when you've got a minus 7 flat 5 and you want to figure out which minus 6 it comes from, you invert up. So that gives me D minus 6. Here's D minus 6 alternating with E diminished to make a scale of chords. E diminished, D minus 6, E diminished, D minus 6, E diminished, and back. And we do have single steps. So let's see what the single steps are doing. The first note is a D on B minus 7 flat 5. It's pushed on there, so it's a half beat early. It doesn't matter, I'm putting it on the beat for now. I'll write with the B minus 7 flat 5 on the beat. To the diminished, E diminished. So that's D minus 6 or B minus 7 flat 5, E diminished. Another D minus 6. Now we're going from, that's the end of the single scale steps, because then there's a jump. So that's a minor note from D minus 6. And then the top note is another note from D minus 6. So we're going minor to minor. So they're not single scale steps. So that could be a jump before the chord change, right? Some sort of contrary motion in the left hand. See, this was a minor note, a diminished note going down as the right hand goes up, and a minor note. Okay, and one more example. Let's take There Will Never Be Another You. This one's interesting because on this minor 7 flat 5 we get space, we don't get the single steps, so we're going to use some fill-ins. Okay, well, D minor 7 flat 5, if I invert it up I get F minor 6. So again we'd have to know F minor 6 alternating with a G diminished. Notice the diminished is always a whole step above the minor 6, right? So there's another F minor 6 inverted, G diminished inverted, F minor 6 inverted, etc. This diminished, G diminished again, F minor 6, G diminished, and F minor 6. So what I'm going to do on this one is I've got an F at the top. So I know that I've got D minor 7 flat 5 and it goes with F minor 6. Well, remember we said F minor 6 goes with G diminished to make a scale of chords. F minor 6. If I take the top 2 notes up to diminished notes, remember we did that in our exercises? So I'm going to begin like that, where we've got 2 notes from F minor 6 and 2 notes from G diminished. Like that. And give them back. Let's see if I can do something with it. Don't worry about I don't know what I'll do on the G7, but this lesson's about the D minor 7 flat 5. Let's see. Here we go. See that? That's 2 notes, F minor 6, 2 notes from G diminished, and they come back. And then I had a G7 of some sort. You know, this is a diminished on top of G7 with a moved note. That's a brother. For another day. But I know some of you will ask me about it, so there's the basics of what happened there. And I don't know what I did after that. So 3 tune examples there. 2 where we had single steps and 1 where we had space, where we have more freedom in terms of how to fill it in. So I hope you enjoyed that and learned some things on the minor 6. If you did, then perhaps you'll consider becoming a Jazz Skills member, where I have much more on movement, voicings, improvisation, rhythm, tunes, learning strategies, personal help from me, all kinds of stuff. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you on the next one. Bye for now.